Luddy and the Dallas Stars were all part of a big Hall of Fame induction ceremony. It was last night. It was part of Hall of Fame weekend. They came out, both Jim Lights and Brenden Morrow, to drop ceremonial pucks on Saturday at the AAC ahead of the Oilers game. And then last night they were officially inducted into the Dallas Stars Hall of Fame. I believe it's the third class since the Hall of Fame started. It's a great way to honor some of the past alums that had such a huge part of the franchise that aren't necessarily going to get their numbers retired. We've had a bunch of number retirements lately, which is more than you would typically see, partly because of that era had such an incredible amount of Hall of Famers on it. Yeah. But what was the event like for you last night? The highlights, and just tell us the general vibe of how that went.
Everything that the Stars do, it always ends up being a great night. It was at Gillies, and it was a Western kind of theme, so Pete DeBoer and all the coaching staff and Jim Nill, they were all there. The players were all there. Last night, Jimmy Lights and Brenden Morrow were honored. They're going into the Stars Hall of Fame. And it was nice because I was at a table, and it was Darian Hatcher and Heather, his wife, Yuri Let's was there. His wife was also there. Eddie Belfour was there. Bob Basson was there. Didick was there. Russ Courtnall was in town. So it's nice seeing, the guys from the past.
I hear that James Neal was made an appearance?
He was there.
He wasn't. The real deal was there.
He wasn't sitting at our table. He was sitting over there on the other side. And so, a lot of guys are coming back, and that's and they do that because of the way the organization has treated them. But they both get up there. Razor actually introduced Jim Lights, and Razor told a story about when he first got to Dallas and had to do a contract with Jim and all this other kind of stuff. And he politely talks about how Mr. Lights has the gift for gab and can talk. And it's amazing when Jim got up there finally after Razor was done and started, his speech. And he said, this is going to take a little longer than usual. And it did. And he started in Detroit. And Mr. Devellano, was, obviously a big figure in his life. And Mr. Illich from the Detroit days, and then he kind of moved on to, on to Dallas, and Mr. Green, Mr. Hicks, got into Jim Nill. So he thanked a lot of people. And then he even went into the sales staff, all the people that when they got here talked about all behind the scenes, starting a new team. And then when Mr. Ghilardi took over and, the things that he had to do there. So it went on for quite a while, but you can see why. It's amazing, though, when you listen to Jim talk, all the things that he's done, being involved in the NFL and in different areas of his life.
He's still involved with the Victory Plus deal.
Yeah, he talked about that,
too. Let me ask you a question about Jim Lights, because Mike Heika, who writes for the Dallas Stars website now, used to be the Dallas Morning News beat writer for the Stars for years and years and years. He wrote a great piece on the Stars website about these two, about Lights and Morrow. And he talked about showing up in, I believe it was in Valley Ranch, at the practice facility, the only rink available when the team moved from Minnesota to Dallas. So you were part of this. And apparently the ice system that was there was not up to par for an NHL practice facility, and they had to get it replaced, and they were able to do it literally with days to go before training camp began. And I believe there were some other parts that they had to get renovated as well. But I think the story said that you guys were actually training in trailers.
Well,
we were changing in trailers,
we were getting dressed,
in like 110 degrees because the locker rooms weren't up to snuff. And that Jim Lights was a huge part with some of his construction background of trying to get things done when there's a problem, he was the solution or the fixer.
Right. And he went through all those things. We went through them too, first at hand. We were dressing. When we first got there, we were dressing outside. They had trailers outside. The building needed to be revamped.
And I'm sure the air conditioning worked great.
It was not good. And so that's when you're kind of thinking, what the hell are we doing here? Like, what's going on? And but you could see how hard they were all working. They ultimately had all the offices were up there, which was kind of weird. When you're a player and you're practicing and you got the GMs in one window over here and you got the president in this window here, you could see all the people, all the staff was working. They'd be walking back and forth during practices.
And we know how you feel about distractions.
And I'm not into them. And I'm my own distraction, though. That's the problem. But no, he's done so much, and he can speak about so many things because he's been there, done that. And like I said, it went on for quite a while, but it was all interesting. And he had so many people he needed to thank and go down the road. And then comes Brenden Morrow. And the guy that introduces Brenden Morrow is Brett Hull, which Hully can be a treat too. And Hully walks up on the stage, and as soon as he gets up there to start talking about Brenden, the first thing he said, he goes, "Thank God he didn't go on for another 5 minutes, or Brenden Morrow wouldn't be going in tonight. He'd be going into 2025. So it was a great way for Hully.
That's a good line.
Yeah, it was awesome. He had a crowd there, and then he started in, on Brenden, and and I didn't realize they're as tight as they are. I know that they're good friends, but Hully went down the road with all of that, and so then Brenden got up, and Brendan's was obviously a lot shorter, and he started out by saying, "I'm going to try to shorten this up, folks, because I know you all want to go. At least get to Larry Fleet and the band and everything."
Well, he had
else.
a great line the day before. He did that press conference at the AAC and said, I was pretty nervous. I don't like public speaking, and I feel like most of my buddies are coming in just to see me screw up my speech.
Yeah, well, he addressed them right off the bat,
I
too.
bet he did.
Yeah, he did. And he had them all sitting there, and he got a little choked up when he was talking about his mom and dad, understandably. And then obviously Anne Marie, his wife, and the kids and things like that. Carbo was here. Guy Carbonell was here. Carbo wasn't at our table because he was at the family table.
Who, by the way, he's the father-in-law now and ex-teammate.
And Carbo's coming here because his younger daughter's getting married this weekend.
Fun.
So he'll be back. He's heading back today, and he's coming back. So it was really the past and the future coming together, really, when you saw some of the guys that were back that we had. And again, they put a great event together. They always do. Josh and Razor emceed the whole thing. Players all came out, and I said to you today, you look at some of these kids, they are kids, and they come out, and they're different shapes than we were. You know what I mean? They're unbelievably in shape, but they're just
think about some of the guys.
Smaller.
Wyatt's not a huge guy. Maverick and Logan are not big guys, right?
Yep.
They're not tiny.
Lundqvist.
Yep.
Yeah.
These guys aren't. There was a time, and I want to say it was because of, you're in your era for sure, but then again around 2007 for a chunk when the Anaheim Ducks won the Stanley Cup,
right,
and they had a massive lineup that the league then went, oh, we need beef. And so they all started drafting these huge monster guys, and that went that way for a while, and it's changed since then. Now they still have plenty of guys with size. And I watched Matt Rempe fight Ryan Reeves the other night, and that was two huge guys. I haven't seen Ryan Reeves look small in a lot of his tilts during his NHL career.
He's still tough and strong, though.
But he did look small. Rempe had the reach and size on him.
Yeah, I think on skates he's kind of Charish,
It's incredible how big he looks. But anyway, that's going to be a little fun, and boy, the folks in Toronto really enjoyed that.
Yeah,
so.
Everybody needs a little bit of that. You know who else? With Jamie. Jamie's always cool. So had a little chat with Jamie. We may have a surprise coming down the road.
Sounds like I would love a surprise.
And you know what's funny? I mentioned to Hully and Brenden and all these guys, and well, come on, anytime you like.
See, I can talk to some of these guys, and they might say, but you're the perfect vessel to convince them to come on our show because
I told them we have Herman Marshall as a sponsor.
Well, see, you know how to sell it, and they have a lot harder time saying no to you than they do to me.
Yeah, but it's another thing getting them here, because they're no different than the rest of us. You got to stay on them, and all of a sudden golf comes up or something like that, and we're like, well, no, this is a little different than just going down and sitting on the corner doing something. We got a big thing going on here.
Yeah.
Come on now, guys. So, but no, we'll be fine with those guys. So, but it was again, like I said, it's amazing. It's not amazing, but it's everybody in that room believes in this team this year. It's incredible, and you can feel it in there.
And it's not just a bunch of homers going, yeah, rah-rah Stars.
No. And you can feel it. I think you can sense it from the players too, which is pressure, but they've been through this now. I think they understand the pressure. The pressure is supposed to be a good pressure, and they know that it comes with it. So, again, we're early into this thing, but we like what we see so far.